It is 1945. Berlin collapses, brick by brick, street by street, life by life. Above ground, Soviet artillery hammers what remains of the German capital. Entire neighborhoods vanish in smoke and fire. The Third Reich, once paraded as eternal, is now counting its final hours. But far beneath the chaos, something even darker unfolds. In a bunker buried more than 30 feet underground, Adolf Hitler waits. Not as a conqueror, not as a visionary, but as a man trapped, surrounded by loyalists, traitors, and ghosts of his own making. For 10 days, this bunker becomes the center of a dying empire. Decisions are made that seal the fate of German soldiers, and secrets are buried that will haunt history forever. And when the doors finally close, when the guns fall silent, the world is left with a question that still refuses to disappear. Did Adolf Hitler really die in that bunker? By the spring of 1945, Nazi Germany was already defeated, whether its leaders admitted it or not. The Western Allies had crossed the Rhine. Cities like Hamburg, Dresden, and Cologne lay in ruins. Millions of civilians were fleeing westward, while the Red Army advanced relentlessly from the east, fueled by revenge and momentum. Berlin was no longer a capital, it was a battlefield. April 20th marks Adolf Hitler's 56th birthday. There's no celebration, no parades, no cheering crowds, no triumphant speeches. Instead, the Führerbunker trembles as Soviet shells strike nearby. Dust rains from the ceiling. The walls shake with each explosion. It is the last time he is ever seen above ground. Inside the bunker, the mood is grim. Maps cover the walls, but they no longer reflect reality. Hitler studies them obsessively, moving imaginary divisions into positions that no longer exist. His generals know the truth. Berlin is surrounded. The Red Army is closing in from all sides. There will be no relief, but Hitler refuses to hear it. As the days pass, Hitler's mental state deteriorates. He sleeps little. He eats poorly. His body is failing him. Witnesses later describe uncontrollable shaking in his left hand, slurred speech, and sudden outbursts of rage. Yet he continues issuing orders. Counterattacks, reinforcements, breakouts. None of them are possible. Generals who attempt to explain the reality are shouted down, or dismissed entirely. To Hitler, the war is not lost because of impossible odds, but because of betrayal. Someone, somewhere, must have failed him. The bunker becomes a pressure cooker of paranoia and fear. Key figures begin arriving underground. Josef Goebbels, the Reich's propaganda minister, moves in with his wife Magda and their 6 children. To them, surrender is unthinkable. A world without National Socialism is a world not worth living in. Eva Braun, Hitler's longtime companion, also enters the bunker. She is calm, almost cheerful. She refuses multiple opportunities to flee Berlin. She's made her decision. Others are not so resolute. Officers whisper about escape routes. Pilots wait on standby. Fake papers are prepared. Cyanide capsules are distributed. The bunker is no longer just a command center. It is a waiting room for death. On April 23rd, Hitler receives devastating news. Hermann Göring, once his designated successor, has suggested taking control of the Reich. Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS, has secretly attempted to negotiate surrender with the Western Allies. To Hitler, this confirms his worst fears. Everyone has betrayed him. He explodes in rage, screaming accusations, declaring his closest allies traitors. Orders are given for arrests and executions. Trust evaporates. The bunker is now a fractured world. Loyalists clinging to fantasy, pragmatists preparing to flee, and a leader spiraling toward an inevitable end. By April 26th, Soviet troops are fighting just blocks away. Gunfire can be heard above the bunker. The electricity flickers, and for the first time, Hitler speaks openly about death. He refuses capture. He refuses trial. He refuses humiliation. In the early hours of April 29th, Adolf Hitler marries Eva Braun in a brief ceremony inside the bunker. There is no music, no celebration, just two people binding themselves together at the edge of oblivion. Immediately afterward, Hitler dictates his last will and political testament. He denies responsibility for the war, blames enemies real and imagined, and appoints successors to a Reich that no longer exists. The words are bitter, defensive, detached from reality. Outside, Berlin continues to burn. April 29th becomes April 30th. Hitler says his goodbyes. Some shake his hand. Others can barely look at him. He thanks his staff for their loyalty. He instructs them to escape if possible. Then, he retreats into his private room with Eva Braun. What happens next becomes one of the most debated moments in modern history. According to eyewitness accounts, Eva Braun dies first, biting down on a cyanide capsule. Moments later, Hitler allegedly shoots himself while also taking poison. Their bodies are carried up the bunker stairs into the garden of the Reich Chancellery. The soldiers carefully place the bodies on the ground next to each other, positioning them side by side against the wall. They are doused with gasoline and set on fire as Soviet shells land nearby. The intention is clear: no body, no trophy. The bunker doors close. Adolf Hitler is declared dead. On May 2nd, the bunker is abandoned. Days later, Berlin surrenders. The war in Europe ends. The world breathes a collective sigh of relief. The monster is gone, or so it seems. Almost immediately, questions arise. The remains recovered by Soviet forces are fragmentary, burned beyond recognition. No Western journalists see the body. No public photographs are released. Joseph Stalin himself tells Allied leaders that he believes Hitler may have escaped. For years, the Soviet Union alternates between claiming Hitler is dead and suggesting he fled. Files are classified, reports are contradictory, and rumors begin to spread. In the years after the war, confirmed Nazi fugitives are found living openly in South America: Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, Adolf Eichmann, Josef Mengele, Klaus Barbie. Escape networks, known as rat lines, are proven to have existed, helping high-ranking Nazis flee Europe using false identities and secret routes. Eyewitnesses claim sightings of a man resembling Hitler in remote regions of Argentina and Patagonia. Declassified intelligence documents reveal that US and Soviet agencies quietly investigated these claims well into the 1950s. No evidence ever conclusively proves Hitler survived, but no evidence completely silences the theory either. History officially records that Adolf Hitler died on April 30th, 1945, beneath Berlin. Most historians accept this conclusion, and yet, the secrecy, the missing body, the conflicting reports, they leave space for doubt. Perhaps Hitler died in that bunker, just as history tells us, or perhaps, amid the chaos of a collapsing empire, he vanished into the shadows, letting the world believe what it needed to believe. The truth may never be known. The bunker was buried. The Reich was destroyed. The war was over. But history is not always written in absolutes. Sometimes it ends in questions. And sometimes those questions refuse to die.